And we're back with another episode of F.I.R.E. Today we're going to be making goulash. And let's go back to last year when I discovered it. So last year I booked a flight from Tel Aviv to Budapest because it was so goddamn cheap. And it was like $50 Australian, which is pretty damn cheap. Anyway, I booked a booze cruise because I thought that was the best way to meet people. And what better way to meet people through alcohol, right? Anyway, I went onto the cruise, waited for 30 minutes until the boat or cruise left the dock, only to realize that I was the only one that actually booked the cruise. So really, I was just drinking beer alone on a boat. None different than isolation, just not on a boat. I mean, there were people around, so it wasn't crazy. It was, there were the waitresses and everything. But they kind of low-key judged me because I was the only one drinking. I was promised food, beer, and live music. And the thing is, I got the three. It just wasn't what I expected. They actually felt really sorry for me, and so they gave me another beer on the go. But then it rained down and made everything just even worse. But then I had a great time, because I was drunk. And what I learnt about the world is that everyone thinks that Australians are complete alcoholics, which is really true. Anyway, after I left the cruise, I went to look for food because I hadn't actually eaten dinner yet, and discovered this little bar that had served food. And I saw this goulash with some dumplings and bread and other stuff. So I ordered 2 servings and another beer. Because if you go to a bar and you don't order beer, like, what the hell are you doing? And I discovered it was amazing. Especially after the rainfall and I was completely soaked and drunk. It tasted amazing. So now we're making goulash today. So hopefully you enjoy. So today we're going to be starting off with chopping our ingredients up, which is onions and garlic. And also some carrots as well, it's optional, but we should put in some kind of vegetables into it. So today we're going to be using oyster blade beef, and oyster blade beef is cut from the shoulder, which is a little bit tough, but since we're slow cooking it today, I thought to use it. We should use something that will come out a bit softer because, it will most likely taste better and be more tender, but you can really use any kind of beef you want. And just for some reason, I thought it would be fun to play a bit of beef Jenga, which is, you just chuck it on top of each other and try to pull it out from the middle, but don't do that. I don't know why. And then what you want to do is you just want to cut the beef into little cubes. I cut it into 4 by 4 centimeter cubes. It was a bit thinner, than what I thought. But as long as they're all kind of the same kind of size, it's gonna work. And then you want to season it. You want to chuck on some salt and pepper, and then a tablespoon of flour just to absorb the moisture in the beef. And when we sear it up, you just get a little bit of brown color to it. But we'll get brown anyway, but So what we want to use is 2 tablespoons of olive oil just to heat it up. And you just want to get a bit of color. You don't want to cook it all the way through because that seriously just defeats the purpose of a slow cooker. And you can actually just put it all into the slow cooker at the start, but you get a nicer flavor when you kind of sear them up a bit. And then when all the beef is done, you want to chuck it into your slow cooker pot and then get your onions into the pan that you were using for the beef. Chuck it in along with your garlic. Throw in some tomato paste, some paprika, and some Carrway Seeds as well. And you want to stir that up and make sure it's all well incorporated together. And then you want to pour in 600 ml of beef stock. It could be homemade beef stock, it could be beef stock bought from the store. As long as you use some kind of stock, it's going to be alright. And then once that's kind of getting up to heat, you want to throw in some canned tomatoes. So I'm using 2 cans of peeled tomatoes. You can use the chopped tomatoes. I feel like the chopped tomatoes would be better. I just have peeled tomatoes just laying around because I love using peeled tomatoes, and plus I always have peeled tomatoes anyway, and I feel like it's just the same thing. And then just chuck in a tablespoon of honey. And I don't think I had enough, but you know, whatever. You just need a bit of honey just to dial down the sharpness of the tomato paste and the acidity of the tomato paste. So you can just use sugar as well if you'd like. And then you want to put in the carrots and then chuck it into the slow cooker. And today I'm going to be using this brand new Ninja all-in-one cooker because I bought it in isolation because I thought I was going to be using it a lot because, you know, sometimes you just get lazy. And this is me trying to turn it on and realizing it wasn't even plugged in the first place, which is pretty damn stupid. Anyway, I plugged it in, counted down, I put it on high, and now we're gonna let it sit for 4 hours. And I know slow cooking is slow cooking, but we want this slow cooker to be fast. And if you wanted to get ready by dinner, you gotta do everything before kind of 10 o'clock or 10 in the morning. And you know, like I didn't want to dedicate a full day to slow cook. Well, I could have done it, I don't know why I didn't do it. But today we're gonna actually be making goulash with udon noodles. So this is how you make udon noodles. So you start off by getting 200 grams of all-purpose flour, 10 grams of salt, and 90 mils of water. And I'm pouring it just on the side there, just so it doesn't go all over, and just make sure that you get exactly 90 mils. And when that's all measured up, you want to just get a, you know, just a spatula or something to mix it up, and you kind of just try to get that as incorporated as much as you can. You just want to get the full mixture all together. And then when you think it's you know, kind of bonded enough with each other in the bowl, you want to take it out and you want to knead it. And while you're kneading it, it's gonna come together, so don't add any more ingredients to it. I found that just putting in a little bit more work into it and it just all kind of came together. And because my bench isn't like the best, it's kind of flexing away. I think it just emphasizes the factor of how strong or how tough this dough is. And where I was reading online how to make udon noodles, you gotta kind of use your feet to do it. But I thought to give it a nice remedial massage with my elbows, because I thought that would be the same thing. And just checking the consistency, checking the toughness of it, it was a bit too hard. So I just tried out the whole stepping on it trick, and it worked. It did pretty well to kind of get it all together and get it really soft. Who would have thought? Using your feet. Imagine the first person that ever tried it, and then the first person to try to explain it to the second person that tried to make it. You want to rest it for about an hour and a half to 2 hours, or just before the slow cooker is almost done. You know, when there's an hour left in the slow cooker, you want to take it out of resting and then chop it up. And I'm using a pizza slicer because it was right there and just didn't really want to get a knife. Which I don't know why I'm so lazy. And then you just kind of chop it up. I kind of like the aesthetic of it being uneven and misshaped and just have different thicknesses. You know, you can cut it as thin as you want or anything. And then you want to just skip rope with the udon noodles. I kind of pull it out a little bit just to get it to be a bit longer, a bit more thin. But you don't have to do it. I just did it because I just felt like it. And then which one do you reckon looks better? I tried to make it look really pretty. I kind of like the one on the right because it's messy and it's not like a mess. So around about 15 minutes left in the slow cooker, you want to just open it up, check it out, have a big whiff, mix it up, and just to see if it's kind of all just together. And you know, just by looking at it, it looks pretty good. It looks pretty thin. That's what the noodles are actually there for. It's gonna thicken up this bad boy food. And you just want to unravel it, chuck it in, mix it up, make sure it's kind of just all in that bitch. And then you chuck it back in and press start once more. Then after 15 minutes, you want to get some sour cream and chuck a tablespoon worth into it. Because this would add more creaminess to it, you know? Like you kind of want the sour cream in it. As you keep mixing it in, you kind of just see it just becomes a nice creamy kind of soup kind of stew. And it smells pretty good. A smoky kind of flavor to it. And there it is. A combination of a Hungarian stew with some Japanese udon noodles. And the beef, you know, it was supposed to be tough, but it came out soft. Well, it came out softer than I thought. It's a pretty cool, good combination. And even though traditional Hungarian goulash has these dumplings in it, it wasn't really in, well, what I had wasn't in noodle form. It was just in like little bowls, which was pretty good. You know, you get a nice hit of dough balls in your goulash. But I just thought to make udon noodles with the goulash. It's one hella hearty meal, and I really thoroughly enjoy goulash. And it's perfect in this winter weather we're having right now. So if you have a slow cooker and you got some time, just give it a try and let me know how it goes.